have gone up and down the ladder this year.
No question about that, Jack. Both teams have struggled offensively and defensively, but probably what sticks out in my mind the most is rebounding. Neither team is a very good rebounding team, so this afternoon, the offensive second effort, shots, and points will be big.
For Butler, they'll be without senior point guard Tim Bowen. He's been suspended for this game. That increases the pressure on guard Jermaine Geis.
It certainly does. Jermaine Geis is a guy that offensively has led this Butler Bulldog team, but this afternoon he's going to have double work guarding the backcourt of LaSalle. And now Relaford, here's a guy that has to balance out the offense. He's got to score some points inside. He is their best interior defender. He's going to have to step it up this afternoon.
And Butler is also hopeful that J.P. Bren's coming off that broken foot can contribute this afternoon. When you talk about LaSalle, they're peaking at tournament time. The key has been that young backcourt.
The key all year has been that young backcourt. This is a shooting backcourt. Kareem Towns has excellent range, has never seen a shot he didn't like, but he's got a shooter's mentality, Jack. He stays right with it. Paul Burke, he's the assist man. He's the straw that stirs the drink offensively, but he can shoot now. This guy can shoot a tremendous three-point shooter and has got that range to knock down a good percentage.
Speedy Morris and the LaSalle Explorers, Barry Collier and the Butler Bulldogs. The first of four from Indianapolis. It should be a lot of fun. Stick around. Today's MCC tournament game is being brought to you by First Brands Corporation, makers of SCP gas treatment. By Richard Petty the Legend, available on home video now. And by Gillette Sensor in the new Gillette series. Gillette, the best a man can get. With each new day, you find a way to be your best.
Gillette Sensor for the closest, safest shave ever.
You know you've got to be a little better.
Only Sensor has spring-mounted twin blades that adjust to every detail of every face. Gillette Sensor. And now there's Gillette Aftershave Skin Conditioner. It moisturizes so your face feels comfortable all day.
Introducing the new Chex Best Double Delicious. I love double Chex better than the rest. Corn, rice, sweet, crunch, double, crisp, bite, munch. It's new, lightly sweetened corn plus lightly sweetened rice makes new Double Chex twice as nice. Double Chex better than the rest. Corn, rice, sweet, crunch, double, crisp, bite, munch.
For the number 6 seed, Butler against the number 3 team, LaSalle. Let's look at the starting lineup. First of all, for Barry Collier's Butler Bulldogs, they'll have Danny Allen, Brian Buford, and Qatar Relaford across the front line. Freshman Chris Miskell will start at point guard in replace of Tim Bowen and Jermaine Geis at the other guard. Barry Collier in his 4th season at his alma mater, 55 and 59. For Speedy Morris's LaSalle Explorers, it is Blitz Wooten in the front court, Don Shelton, and then that 3-guard lineup of Towns, Burke, and Neubauer for Speedy Morris, 14 and 12 this year, and 153 and 64, best record in LaSalle basketball history.
Jack, key player today, Miskell, number 32 for Butler, has to pick up the defensive slack with Tim Bowen having a 1-game suspension. If he does it, it could be a long afternoon for Geis. Jermaine Geis could be worn out playing both ends of the floor against the backcourt of LaSalle.
LaSalle controls the 6. Neubauer, the senior from Louisiana, will work with Burke as the two guys directing the offense. It's primarily Burke who will do things at the quarterback role, if you will.
Neubauer can hit the standing three-pointer. Doesn't look for it much. The offense is with this man right here to start with.
Towns misses. Shelton kept the ball alive, and it's rebounded out to Neubauer. Towns' pass, however, went away from Wooten, picked up by Brian Buford, and off his leg on the defensive effort by Kareem Towns to give the ball back to LaSalle.
Excellent call. Referee right on top of that play. If you had a different angle, you would assume the ball would still be in Butler's hands. At that time, referee's right on top of it early in this ballgame.
Eric Harmon, John Bonder, and Ron Winter shooting the whistles this afternoon in game one.
Watch how this LaSalle team uses the picks offensively, particularly Towns.
First pass went awry, and Jermaine Geist team converted the other end. Miskell misses, Danny Allen misses. Several offensive tries, and Butler came up dry.
Butler has to get 1 out of 3.
Neubauer comes the other way, rebounded by Miskell. The freshman loses the ball to Neubauer. Both teams very tight, both teams out of control here in the opening minutes plus.
Maybe both teams a big dose of tournament tightness.
Now, new facility, you're playing on a neutral site, although Butler played 2 games here during the season. The Hoosier Classic, Kareem Towns misfires, rebound, blitz Wooten. But his pass comes out to Miskell and ahead to Geist. And we're on the board.
That time Towns took the shot. He was the furthest player out on the floor. He should rotate back defensively and cover until his teammates can get back. He didn't. Easy basket for Butler.
Each team won on their own floor during the regular season. Good entry pass to blitz Wooten from Paul Burke to tie the game at 2.
That's what Burke does so well for this team. Until then, they shot the ball from the perimeter and been unsuccessful. That time he took it right inside. He was the director of his always in basket.
Entry pass to Brian Buford from Qatar Relaford.
And Buford, we didn't talk about him much in the open, but he's a guy inside that can also provide some balance offensively.
He's the number 2 scorer for this Butler team. Was in the top 20 in the conference at better than 12 and a half a game. Towns for another 3. Rebound, Don Shelton.
Salle, a lot of second and third efforts. Butler, too, so far. Not a good sign, because I believe that the team that gets the most seconds and thirds this afternoon will win.
Both teams can be erratic shooting the basketball. First try is rebounded by Danny Allen. LaSalle in a zone right now. Butler working it around the perimeter. They find Relaford inside. Created some space with a bump against Wooten and scored it.
Good body work that time by Relaford. LaSalle will constantly change defenses. They'll be in a zone, they'll be in a matchup zone, they'll be in a man-to-man.
Shelton's pass goes out of bounds as Neubauer went one way, and in the early going, LaSalle is the team appearing to be a little bit more rattled, even though they've been the hotter team of late.
They have, but they're the higher seed team. Maybe a little more pressure on the Explorers than the Butler Bulldogs. Butler Bulldogs maybe feel that they've got nothing to lose and everything to gain.
Jermaine Geist buries the 3. He's got 5 quick points, and Butler out to an early 7-point advantage.
They have to shoot the ball to the outside, and they need to shoot well from the three-point line, which they haven't all year.
Towns 3-point try, rebounded Danny Allen.
Towns 0 for 4 here in the first half, but keep your eye on him. He won't quit. He's got a shooter's mentality.
Ball goes out of bounds off of Jeff Neubauer, and that sequence right there typifies the early problems for the LaSalle Explorers. Butler has the early edge.
We'd like to make an unfair comparison. Old El Paso Thick and Chunky Bacardi versus Pace Bacardi. Unfair because Old El Paso Thick and Chunky Bacardi is made from a special bold recipe with an abundance of tomatoes, chilies, onions, and seasonings. Unfair because you can see the difference. Old El Paso's got the taste that runs wild. pace just runs. Serious times demand serious men.
Hard work. The reward. Hard work. Tenacity. Gumption. Discipline. Sometimes you've got to stop and smell the pizza.
And that's in part to the quick start by Jermaine Geis.
That's right, Jack. Geis has struggled recently. They need his perimeter shooting, in particular the three-point shooting, against the changing defenses of LaSalle, particularly their zones. And that jump shot went down against the zone. Now the zone must react to Jermaine Geis.
Geis's work of late, 5.5 points below his seasonal average, so you can see how much he has struggled. The quick inbound pass is missed by Katara Relaford. J.P. Bren's in the lineup now for the first time. You can see LaSalle 1 for 7 thus far.
Last time down the floor, let's watch the LaSalle zone. Their hands were down, they were standing, not active.
Blitzwood is fouled by Relaford after he had released the ball. First foul of the ball game.
Well, if there is such a thing as not a bad foul, Wooten is a 61% foul shooter. Relaford knocks him down, but uses his rear in a screen-out situation. You like to see your guys screen the shooter, but you don't like to see him knock him down.
So Wooten will go to the line. Turkin Mott was going to come in and replace Blitz Wooten, but he'll have to wait for the sophomore to shoot a couple of free throws. As Mike said, not a great free throw shooter at 61% on the year, and so he promptly knocks it down. You say how good they are, they miss it.
That's right. We usually jinx people, right?
Wooten has all 3 points so far.
The real trick is, Jack, can we do something with the second one?
Rolled all the way around and out. Relaford with the board for Butler.
Little half-court trap by LaSalle. They'll change constantly.
Jump ball called, and it'll be the possession arrow Butler's way, but good pressure by that LaSalle defense.
And what LaSalle does, Jack, is they make the guards think. They make Butler's guards think by changing defenses. And when they trap and when they come in and out of zones, you must think as a guard on the opposition, Butler, or things can get pretty screwed up offensively for your team.
In addition to Turkin Mott, John Taylor into the ball game for Butler. He just made the pass. Here's Geis thinking three, going in for the leader instead. 7 points in the early moments for Jermaine Geis.
Very important that Geis gets off the spot early. Certainly made a very nice move that time. Pump fake to clear himself.
The junior can light it up. He has scored as many as 32 points in a game this year. Did that against Detroit Mercy. Burke didn't get the shot away. Danny Allen got a piece of the pass. So it remains LaSalle's basketball with 27 on the shot clock. Travel services this week provided through World Tech Travel for all of us. Happy to be bringing you this afternoon's first of two here, and then two more later on tonight.
Butler's been in man-to-man exclusively so far here in the first half. Shows a little respect for the outside shooting ability of the LaSalle Explorers.
That ends that nearly 3.5-minute drought from the field as Turkin Mott gets his first basket.
LaSalle extending that half-court trap now to almost three-quarter court.
Inside, Brenz couldn't get it to go, but he'll get some free throw opportunities.
Nice job that time by Butler. Swinging the ball, which is what you want to do. You want to swing it, you want to attack, which is they did. Then it leaves the middle wide open. And Brent, good job coming to the ball, posting up. But Jack, you have to finish that shot. That's a point-blank shot. Barry Collier knows that if he can attack that half-court trap and get that type of shot, he needs to finish. You're not going to have that many easy opportunities.
Quincy Bowens comes in to give Jermaine Geis a breather as Brent rolls it all the way around and down for his first point.
Brent seems to have come back now from that foot injury. A little confidence is up now, a little better than a week ago when we saw him against Evansville. He was rusty that Saturday, I think.
Butler has led by as many as 8. Mott had the ball knocked away out of bounds.
LaSalle missed early from the perimeter. It seems like their game plan now is to come inside. Butler, tough defensive club to get a piece of the ball. They must keep the ball off that block, out of the paint.
Towns chases down the loose pass. Working against Mistel. 0 for 5 for Towns, and underneath we've got a foul on one of the Butler players. Ron Winter is going to tell us that it's Brian Buford, I believe.
Rebounding's important, but when you get the push and shove inside, you're going to get the foul. What you want to do is seek the ball. You trace the ball in the air, and then you seek it out for the rebound. Inside,
Shelton got the good pass and scores his first field goal.
Nice look that time. Shelton wide open on the basket. Let's watch and see what Butler does against this half-court trap. So far, they've done an excellent job of swinging the ball and attacking.
And the two youngsters in the backcourt, Bowens, the redshirt freshman, and Mistel, the true freshman right now. Bowens into John Taylor, the runner is good.
You know, every time we've had a Butler game, Jack, John Taylor has had a good ball game. Came off the bench early in the season against Duquesne, and last week against Evansville played very well.
John's problem has been knee injuries. Got that bulky brace on his right knee as Paul Burke on the quick turnaround on the baseline gets his first field goal for LaSalle.
That surprised Quincy Bowens. He didn't think that he would shoot that shot back to the basket.
The trap at midcourt, Taylor is fouled by Paul Burke.
Taylor did the smart thing. Whenever you're trapped, obviously you don't want to let yourself be trapped. But when you do get trapped, if you can step through and split the defenders, good things will happen. And that's what he did.
Our next game will be the number 2 seed Evansville against the number 17, the Dayton Flyers. Check your local listings for the time in your area.
The Sal's 2-3 zone, hacking it in pretty tight right now.
Mistel from the corner. Towns volleyballs it to Buford, who goes into Brenz, and he's fouled by Towns.
Very unselfish look that time by Buford. Brian Buford set it up for J.P. Brenz. He feels the pressure defensively. He feels that defensive pressure by LaSalle finds the open man. Brenz has got to finish that, even though he's fouled. If he can go up and finish that shot, that puts him in an opportunity to knock down a foul shot and get a three-point play.
Blitz Wooten back into the ball game for Turkin Mott as J.P. Brenz hits his second free throw in 3 tries.
That time, the second effort, the second shot came back to haunt LaSalle. Again, I really feel these two teams, because neither one is a dominant rebounding team on the season, whoever controls the board gets the most seconds to eventually win.
Wooten from the foul line, barely grazed the front of the rim where Taylor picked it up, and here comes Bowen. Mistel, he's in trouble inside, and still got it to go.
Was that a dandy shot, huh? Left-handed, went up between 2 defenders. Very athletic move.
Chris Mistel, the freshman out of South High School in Bloomington, right in the shadows of Indiana University.
Again, he split the defenders, and he had patience. He didn't travel. He didn't try to throw a pass where no one was available to receive it. He had patience and stepped through to the basket as things opened up for him.
First foul on Don Shelton, and Miskell's three-point play opportunity gives Butler a 10-point lead. The Butler Bulldogs trying to be the upset makers in game one. Back in Indianapolis, Mike Pratt and yours truly, Jack Horgan, the hometown team with the early lead here in game one. Accommodations for this event provided by the Signature Inns. There's a place where travelers can stay where the people make them feel at home. A place called Signature Inn, serving your lodging needs with 28 convenient locations throughout the Midwest. And while we have a moment, we want to remind you that the announcers for this game have been contracted for and approved by the Midwestern Collegiate Conference and Creative Sports. Any use, rebroadcast, or other transmission of this game without the written consent of the MCC and Creative Sports is prohibited.
Jack, you mentioned the hometown team off to a tremendous start shooting-wise. 64%. They've been able to hold LaSalle to a mere 33% so far.
Burke nearly lost his footing against Jermaine Dice, who is back in the game.
This is a man they have to get off the mark right here. Kareem Town goes for 5, needs to make one, and he will.
As his shot blocked by Bren, thought he was bumped by Miskell. The shooting woes continue for LaSalle. The other way, John Taylor is hammered by Don Shelton.
But Taylor has the athletic skills to take it to the hoop. And what you want to do against big people is take it right at their nose, right in there. Don't back up. Does an excellent job of turning his body to the defender, then bringing the ball. Taylor, very athletic.
One of the things I've been impressed with in the early going, Chris Miskell doesn't have the quickness or the experience of Tim Bowen, the young man he is replacing in this game, but he's a much bigger body against Towns.
Well, bigger body's right there. Brenz was bigger than Towns. Towns tried to shoot over 2, and the big guy wins. Usually, that battle goes to the bigger player. Not always, but usually.
You saw Ray Schultz there a moment ago. He has replaced Don Shelton at center as the lead has grown to 11 for Butler.
And you mentioned Miskell. See how Butler operates offensively. It's trying to limit how much he handles the ball, which is good.
Burke from beyond the arc hits the three-pointer.
If Burke and Towns get going from 3, they can cut into this lead very quickly.
Burke has averaged nearly 21 points a game the last 3 weeks of the season.
Speedy Morris changed defensively during the timeout. Good move. Butler having no problems against the 2-3. He's throwing a 1-3-1 at them. Let's see what happens.
From the corner, the three-point try way off the mark. Underneath, Taylor thought he was tied up. At least Speedy Morris thought he was tied up, but he fought it free, and Butler maintains possession. The pass underneath to Taylor. Gets it to Brenz in the lane. Too strong, and Brenz fouls Ray Schultz over the top.
I think Brenz tried to put a crack in that bank for him.
Well, last night, Mike and I spent some time with Barry Collier, and we talked about J.B. Brenz, and right now, he is so earnest out there. I mean, he is firing cannons, and usually that's not going to work in basketball.
Well, he went over to sit down and think about it, and hopefully he'll trade his bricklayer's card in for a shooter's card, because he's going to have lots of opportunities, and the Bulldogs need him to finish, particularly on the close-in ones, Jack.
They're trying to free up Towns, but good defense by Miskell. Burke off the screen from Schultz scores 2 more.
I'm sure Barry Collier did not like what he saw then. Burke took it from the NBA three-point line all the way to the hoop, uncontested.
Dice in the lane. Good pass, but right to Paul Burke because the cutter, Buford, stopped his move. Burke inside for Blitz Wooten for 2 more for LaSalle.
You might see Butler slow the pace, or if they don't score here, get a timeout quickly.
7-point run for the Explorers. Allen spots for a 3. Rebound to Quincy Lee. Ball poked free, but to Kareem Towns. A little razzle-dazzle to Burke, and he traveled with the ball.
Got ahead of himself that time. At the other end, Butler put it in their outside shooter's hands. Allen, he's a guy that typically can knock that shot down, and he was open.
9:20 to play here in the first half. Butler has led by as many as 11. Their lead is down to 4 thanks to this LaSalle run.
The change of defenses by Speedy Morris at the timeout has been effective.
Allen spots again for the 3. Quincy Lee with the rebound for LaSalle.
They cut down on the second and third effort shot that Butler had earlier.
Lee misfires badly on the 3-point try. Here comes Butler.
Maybe a little too quick for that one.
Butler has now gone more than 2.5 minutes without a point. It's been a game of spurts.
Butler's had good shots, Jack. They had shots consistently, got hot early and cooled off. But the shots have been good.
Miskell inside, and Buford is fouled by Paul Burke, and that will be 2 on Burke.
Ended up being a very nice high-low situation that time. But LaSalle has played this zone very well, but this time they let the ball come into the middle, which is a killer in a zone. Anytime that ball gets in the middle, good things don't happen to you.
16 fouls now on the Explorers.
Change again, back to the 2-3 zone by LaSalle. You have to be able to deal with changing defenses.
Well, the third time was the charm for Danny Allen. After missing 2 threes, he finds that one in the far corner.
You better know where he is in a zone, because if he has a chance to square up and get a good look, he will knock it down.
Wooten trying to work in against Buford, and he does. 7 points for Blitz Wooten here in the first half.
Good body control on that shot. Faded, hits the defender with his body.
Nearly over the head of Miskell against the double team. The guy's pass found the mark. Buford all the way to the basket. Brian Buford with 4.
And that's something that Speedy Morris has to look at, that penetration to the basket against the zone. Somebody has to rotate, pick him up.
Burke goes to the baseline, hangs in the air, no. Wooten and Burke fought for the rebound, and it goes out of bounds to Butler. 7:22 to play in the first half. Butler, at least for the moment, has answered the LaSalle charge.
You come so far, and we know how to say who you are.
Only Gillette Sensor has spring-mounted twin blades that adjust to your face. A shave this close, this safe was never this easy. Sensor, and now there's Gillette shaving gel with advanced lubricants for an incredibly smooth shave. Recently, 1 million cases of Diet Pepsi were sent free to loyal Diet Coke drinkers.
I wonder if some of them are singing a different tune now. It's got a hold on me, right in the soul of me. I'm a changed man. This is the right one, baby.
It makes you wonder, what would happen if everyone tried Diet Pepsi?
No comment, baby. No doubt about it. Only one taste is the right one. Makes me feel like singing. You got the right one, baby.
Shows you some offensive skills. He's isolated at the high post. Takes the ball to the basket. Nobody rotates and picks him up. Easy basket. At the other end, Wooten here takes it all the way from high to low. Gets good pressure from Relaford. It uses an excellent offensive move. Body, then fade to get 2. He's had a big first half, Jack. They've got to find out someone that can stop him inside.
Danny Allen Dice scored the points early, but since then it's been pretty well distributed for Butler.
The zone really packed tight. This might open up Allen for a couple of the outside shots. If he makes those, that'll pull LaSalle out of the zone.
Taylor down low to Brent, trying to work around Shelton. Got it off instead to Relaford. Rebound on Shelton, and he is fouled by Qatar Relaford. 2 games coming up tonight here at Market Square. The number 18 Loyola will try and run its upset string to 4 in a row against the top seed Xavier Musketeers at 7. And then the Duquesne Dukes and the Detroit Mercy Titans. That should be a real race between those 2 teams. Check your local listings for the times in your area for those 2 games in the first round, the quarterfinals of the Midwestern Collegiate Conference. The 3-point try goes off the mark. Rebound on the floor to Brent.
Salle back to shooting that perimeter shot. They had some success here in the first half going inside. Look for them to go back to that.
Nice 2 strong rebound volleyball to Neubauer. Towns was breaking, but he saw him too late, and John Taylor intercepts.
Tough pass to make with the angle.
Inside the Geis, who finger rolls it home. Geis with 9.
That was a 4-point play. The 2 points LaSalle did not get on that long pass that was intercepted, and the 2 points that resulted from the steal for Butler.
Away from the ball, we're going to get a hold as Kareem Towns. No, they're going to call an illegal pick to get Towns open.
Towns very quiet in the last 5 to 7 minutes of this first half, Jack. Started out, I believe he's 0 for 6, 0 for 7.
He actually had the foul called against him. He must have been trying to get away from some action and was called for a grab or whatever. It also puts Butler into the bonus.
Butler's been able to build this lead with Towns not scoring. Good job defensively by Butler so far.
The only area of concern for Barry Collier right now, the foul line. They've missed several. Neubauer forced a pass, and John Taylor came up with it for Butler. It has not been a pretty first half for the Explorers, and Quincy Lee pops off Speedy Morrison's bench to come back in, and Jeff Neubauer fouls Qatar Relaford.
The entry pass from the wing to the high post area against that zone was just too easy. Wing, high post, too easy. That zone has to react together as 5 players. When that happens, there won't be any gaps in the zone that a pass like that can come into.
Quincy Lee, the freshman from Paulsboro, New Jersey, back in for LaSalle. And you saw Jermaine Geis getting the breather for Butler as the Bulldogs miss another free throw. Quincy Bones, the guy who is replacing Geis, getting some instruction from Barry Collier.
It's probably the young man who will have to take on Kareem Towns. And for Barry Collier, you hope that he can do the job that they've done so far against Towns.
Butler just 5 of 10 at the foul line after the 2 misses there by Relaford. And they are the number 2 shooting free throw team in the conference, but they have been really up and down all year with their free throws. Lee goes around Danny Allen and a blocking foul on the baseline against Qatar Relaford.
Lee takes the baseline. It was offered to him. Butler not playing real good defense. You have to cut off the baseline drive. The move over to take the charge was too late. Lee did a good job, though. He saw the pass ahead. The foul was called before he could complete the pass, but he was definitely looking ahead to make a nice pass.
That was the second foul on Relaford, and he has been replaced by Brian Buford. Burke sets for the 3 and hits another one. Paul Burke keeping LaSalle in the neighborhood. He's got 10 of their 21 points.
Burke 35% three-point shooter.
Burke on the overplay, and then Bowen fouls him. We talked, Mike Pratt, about Paul Burke's shooting and assist work, but he's a pretty good defensive player, too, particularly on the overplay.
A real heads-up play here. He realized what happened last time down the floor. He tried to cut that pass off from the wing to the high post. Last time they didn't. This time it pays off. credit him for a heads-up play.
16 fouls now on the Bulldogs.
He's going to have to get some offense from Town.
Well, they'll try again and misfire again. Wooten follow. Rebound, foul, blitz Wooten.
Wooten's trying to step up and pick up the slack. That shot did not go down. It was a good shot. What he does do is give you a nice second effort defensively, trying to stop the ball as John Taylor as they come out. But definitely foul. He has to make this shot. Somebody has to make shots like that because Kareem Towns is getting off to a very slow start. 0 for the half.
0 for the half with 4:21 to play here in the first half. Taylor 1 of 2 at the line. Now 4 points for the junior from Madison, Illinois.
Plays well on television. Television guy.
The graphic is wrong. That's the first personal foul on Blitz Wooten. Taylor with 5 points and Butler with their 8-point lead again.
Butler stayed in the man-to-man the entire half.
Towns double clutches, and Buford comes down with it.
Towns felt he got fouled, and it sounded from here like somebody took a good whack at him. So he has to play through that. He has to get back defensively, play through it, make something happen.
Towns playing good defense. Forces the ball away, but it's picked up by Buford, and he reverses it home.
Butler a little more alert so far here the first half, getting a lot of loose balls. In his stretches, getting a lot of second shots.
They had come down to an 11-point lead that Butler saw LaSalle cut down to 4, and this time, there's no doubt, it was a multiple choice foul, and Danny Allen and J.P. Brenz banged into each other, making the foul.
So this foul shows you 2 things, Jack. One is that Butler respects him because 3 players rotated to get him. The other thing that Kareem Towns did well was simply go to the basket instead of shooting the jump shot because he's 0 for 8. Heads up play.
Turkin Mott is back in for LaSalle. Chris Miskell and Jermaine Geis come back into the Butler lineup. As Kareem Towns will go to the line for the first time this afternoon.
So if you're Speedy Morris, you have to find some way to get this guy off the mark, right? He's their scorer, he's their shooter. You have 3 minutes to go in this half, but what's most important is get Kareem Towns off the mark in the second half, Jack, because we've seen him put numbers up quickly.
He's the #1 scorer in the conference this year at just over 22 points a game. His first 2 points of the afternoon cut the Butler advantage to 8.
The official championship other outstanding MCC.
Now, you can own the definitive documentary on the King, a production as hard-driving as the man himself, Richard Petty, the legend. This limited edition 2-volume home video includes the official Petty collector's card, and if you order now, you'll receive this free commemorative poster. To order, call 1-800-547-4343 or send $38.95 plus $5 shipping and handling to Richard Petty, the legend, 805B Franklin Court, Marietta, Georgia 30067.
almost from the outset. The 8-point advantage. Paul Burke trying to keep LaSalle in the neighborhood.
He has to. Kareem Towns 0 for 8. He's their leading scorer. Burke's the guy. He's got 10. But I thought Jack, Butler, the team that just seems quicker to the ball. Not only on the floor, and that results in a hoop, but on the rebounds. They got quite a few seconds. They just seem to be a step or two. The tempo for them this afternoon is greater than LaSalle.
Jermaine Geis, the leading scorer for Butler with the basketball on the pass off to Miskell. Geis with 9 points. Burke leading all scorers with 10. And you see the turnover problems LaSalle has had. But now, tell you what, Don Shelton, well, maybe he felt like he touched it. But I think had he let that go, it would have been LaSalle ball because it went off of J.P. Brent.
That was a fastball that somebody threw, not a curveball.
No change up there.
Watch the hands for LaSalle. We've seen them play before. The hands, watch if they're up. They're down a lot. They don't seem to be as active this afternoon.
Rebound Turkin Mott. A near steal by Miskell. And he walked with the basketball, did Quincy Lee. 9 TOs on LaSalle and 5 turnovers on Butler.
It's almost impossible to play catch-up and make a lot of turnovers. That time they dodged the bullet on the outlet pass, but they still coughed it up later on.
LaSalle is averaging less than 14 turnovers a game, so you can see the mistakes have been a problem here in the first half.
Look at the arms. The hands are down in that LaSalle zone.
Inside goes Buford. No, but he is fouled by Don Shelton, and that is 3 on Shelton.
Speedy Morris loves the zone. He plays combination zones. He's very successful. This ball gets into the middle too easy. I'm sure that Speedy Morris will have something to say to his team at halftime about that. They'll come out, I would bet, with a different attitude defensively in the second half. And they have to.
Ryan Buford with his 7th point in the first half. Blitz Wooten comes back into the game for Shelton.
Wooten offensively has provided more points than Shelton. Even though Shelton's the better shot blocker, probably taller, Wooten has gotten off a good start, and that's what they need, someone to help Burke until Towns gets going.
The 10-point advantage for Butler. They have led by as many as 11 in this one. Give and go to Towns on the baseline, and Miskell got him.
Miskell and Taylor both moved over to try to stop the leading scorer. Towns can put it on the floor, just not a standstill shooter. He draws the crowd. Maybe if he had a pump fake, it might have been a little easier to get to the foul line, Jack, but he accomplished his goal. He got to the foul line.
Towns is 70% free throw shooter on the season. Has hit his first 3 offerings here this afternoon.
This is a young man who, for Speedy Morris, has a brilliant career. A lot of upside with this youngster. Just a sophomore.
First team all-conference. The only sophomore on the all-conference first team.
Salle coming back in a little three-quarter pressure again. For a while, early in this first half, the half-court trap was successful.
Miskell leans inside and gets another one. 5 points for the freshman, and was done well in the starting assignment.
Pulled up off the dribble penetration, took a good shot.
Mott squares up against Brent. Burke for a 3. Not that time. Wooten rebounds the volleyball to J.P. Brent.
This is the last time LaSalle got a second look at the basket, a put-back opportunity. It's been a while, Jack.
Buford fell down. The ball comes to Towns, and this is going to be his first field goal.
Well, with 1:26 to go in the half, that could be a positive motivator. He's not going in at halftime with good things.
Lead again, back into single figures. On the baseline, Buford open. It won't go, and Blitz Wooten pulls it down for LaSalle. The Explorers trying to make a late run.
They can finish with a flurry of hoops here and cut into this lead.
Towns works inside, double clutches, and drew the foul on Brent. I think Mr. Towns has decided, I'm going to go to the hoop and draw fouls.
Very good observation. And why is he going to the hoop? Because the outside shot isn't falling. So give him a lot of credit for good basketball sense. Some guys continue to fire that rainbow jumper even when it's not going in. And then guys who have good basketball sense, Jack, as you very well observed, end up going to the hole, getting their confidence, then moving back out to the outside.
Well, what's the old description you coaches like to talk about? Some guys are shooters and some guys are scorers. Towns is a scorer.
No question. And I'll tell you what, but he's got that mental capacity to shoot a lot, miss a lot, and come back. He never loses his confidence.
Jason McKenzie, a freshman out of Warsaw, Indiana, comes into the ball game replacing J.P. Brenz. Towns will try and split the free throws.
Excuse me, Jack. What we just talked about with that youngster, a lot of people don't have that attitude. I'm sure you've seen a lot of guys like that. A lot of guys like to fold up when things aren't going their way.
Turkin Mott kept the ball alive, and it went out to Towns, and he was fouled by Buford. So after making 4, Towns missed a couple, but he'll get a chance for 2 more.
Comes up with a loose ball. No one seems to be able to put a handle on it. Towns says, thank you very much. Goes to the hoop.
It won't go.
Looks like he's starting to guide that ball just a little bit.
Both teams have 10 personal fouls. That's why it's a 2-shot opportunity here.
Towns needs halftime. He needs to regroup mentally.
Again, the pressure on the basketball. And another steal as Burke pulls it away.
Big steal at this point in the ball game. Is LaSalle what probably will be the last pop at the basket if they use this clock fully. Spreading it out. Obviously, Burke maybe a little one-on-one. See how the defense reacts. Towns will be posting up on the wing.
He cleared the space for Burke. He looks inside, and Wooten is being held by Jason McKenzie.
Well, I'm not so sure that's a great foul at this point in time, but that's part of history.
Stay with us at halftime. Mark Patrick will update you on all the goings-on here in Indianapolis for this MCC tournament. Good first half for the sophomore out of Trenton, New Jersey, Blitz Wooten with 8 points.
He stepped up the game when you need to, and that's important. LaSalle needed his offensive effort here in the first half.
He's got 9, and the Butler lead is down to 5. It was 10 less than a minute ago. And another steal. Lee will beat the buzzer and score it.
How about that one, huh?
What a turnaround. A 10-point lead is just 2 in intermission. Quincy Lee with the buzzer beater from beyond the NBA 3-point line puts LaSalle within 2. Halftime in Indianapolis. Butler leads LaSalle 35-33.
I took diet pills. I lost 34 pounds.
6 months later, the weight came back.
That's what.
think rebounding-wise, Butler was quicker to the ball, when they were quicker to the loose balls and the rebounds, and that made a difference. 50% shooting for Butler is very good shooting because they've been up and down all year, and defensively, they've been in a man-to-man. They've limited Kareem talent.
One of the things that Barry Collier certainly has to be concerned about from Butler's perspective, the turnovers, handling the pressure of the LaSalle defense there in the closing moments is what enabled the Explorers to get back into this game.
He's talking about that right now. He's on the board. He and his guys are ready to start the game. What he has to do now is duplicate that and get them some confidence against his half-court trap, because Speedy Morris, he's going to continue to half-court trap because it's been good to him.
35-33 here at halftime. The second half promises to be a very interesting one, but we've got lots of halftime activities, and Mark Patrick will be on hand for that when we return.
Tony Hinkle. Here's Dick Ray's story on his contributions to Butler University. Patrick back courtside at Market Square Arena for our first game today of the MCC tournament. The number 6 seed, Butler, leads LaSalle by 2 points. Let's go back now for the second half call with Jack and Mike. Fellas?
All right, Mark, thanks very much. And while we got a chance here, we want to remind you about taking the Gillette 3-point challenge. You can win a trip to see the Final Four and take a shot worth $1 million during the Final Four weekend. Look for details in your March 14th Sunday newspaper. No purchase necessary, void where prohibited. We're moments away from second half action. Stay with us in Indianapolis, Butler and LaSalle in the first. There you see the first half numbers. Butler with good shooting, but not as good from the foul line compared to what they've done through much of the year. LaSalle late did the better job on the boards and got that late three-pointer from Quincy Lee to cut the lead to 2, and Turkin Mott to begin the second half ties the ball game.
LaSalle had some success in the first half going inside early to the bigger people. Right out of the chute, they go inside for a nice, easy basket. Good way to start the second half.
Down low, Buford fighting up against Wooten, had it blocked, and Quincy Lee came up with a basketball. LaSalle has never led in this game till there. Kareem Towns hits the first three-pointer for the young man this afternoon. He's got 10.
I mentioned that he needed halftime, and whatever he got in halftime, confidence-wise, comes right out and pays a dividend.
Well, you know, Mike, in the first half early, the steal forced by Lee and Towns, and Kareem adds 2 more. I was going to say, early in the first half, he was was long with everything, perhaps too pumped up. That first three-pointer there was a line drive.
It was a sweet shot. Then he got an easy basket coming back in transition just then. Now his confidence has to be better. He's forgotten about that first half at this point.
LaSalle with the first 7 points of the second half. We got a foul underneath, and John Bonner tells us that it is Blitz Wooten picking up the second personal.
Butler still able to get the ball in the middle against LaSalle. Not something I'm sure Speedy Morris wants to have happen against his zone. Let's watch that as we go through the second half.
Qatar Relaford will go to the line. He was 0 for 2 there in the first half and had 2 points.
Important for Relaford and Buford to score inside against this LaSalle team. Obviously, a little handicap on his guide hand, not his shooting hand. Shouldn't affect his shot much.
Kirkin Mott with the LaSalle rebound and a 4-point Explorer lead. Wooten in trouble on the baseline.
Excuse me, Jack. LaSalle may try to establish that inside game offensively early here in the second half.
Away from the ball, Chris Miskell called for hanging on to Kareem Towns. And Miskell, the freshman, picks up his second foul.
Well, you want to hang on to Kareem Towns. If he comes out early and makes a couple baskets, you want to hang on him. Low post battle, two big guys going after it. Not to foul on them, foul on someone else though. But maybe a guilty party, huh? Guilty look.
Kirkin Mott. Oh, there's the roll around the rim and down. Mott with 6 points, 2 quick baskets here in the second half.
Establish that inside offense, which will help the pressure on the perimeter.
Nice move on the baseline by Brian Buford. He's got 10.
Never took his eye off the basket, Jack. Defenders running at him. Kept his eye on the hoop.
Bird fires the three over Geis, and Geis, I don't know if he got a piece of it or not. Ball was saved by Lee, but right to Relaford. Miskell nearly lost the ball, forces it up and off. Finally, Quincy Lee comes away with it.
Missed on a chance to score an easy 2 in transition that time. Butler trying to fight back and get back in this ball game. LaSalle came out, landed a sucker punch to start the second half, didn't it?
LaSalle was trailing 35-25, so it's been a 17-2 run, making a 20-2 run as Towns hits another three-pointer. He's got 15 all at once.
Now Chris Miskell has his hands full defensively with Towns.
And Butler turns the ball over. Well, this LaSalle team looked like they were really in trouble, down 35-25 with less than 2 minutes gone, or with less than 2 minutes remaining in the first half, I should say. But since then, it has been all gold for the Explorers.
Allen out and Taylor in. Maybe a defensive situation for Butler. Watch and see who Taylor guards.
Didn't score it, but Buford with the body down low picks up the foul.
Buford allowed Wooten to get position too close to that paint. Look, he's in the paint when he receives the ball. It's tough to defend anybody inside when they receive the ball in the paint. You have to kick them out of the paint, which gives them a longer distance to get to the basket, Jack. That time he was right on top of the hoop.
Wooten hurt his knee against Duquesne late in the regular season. It hasn't affected the sophomore this afternoon too severely. He's got 10 points. He has scored as many as 17 in a game this season.
They've been big points here in the first half because Towns struggled offensively.
The lead stays at 8 as John Taylor clears it for Butler.
How about the 8-point swing? Really, I guess it's a 10-point swing for LaSalle early here in the second half.
They've not been able to get the ball too often. Good overplay. Saved to Taylor by Buford. John scored it, and he'll get one more. I started to say like they've not been able to get the ball in Jermaine Geis's hand.
They haven't, but Taylor is a guy that uses his athletic skills to score this basket because it's a nice save, but he goes right into the teeth of the LaSalle defense. never takes his eye off the basket. Butler needed that one. That was a big basket. Things have not been going their way offensively.
Taylor will look for the three-point play as you saw J.T. Prince come into the lineup. That's another missed free throw by the Bulldogs. 9 of 15 at the foul line.
Salle this time wanting to set it up on the half court. So Speedy Morse directing to the sideline. Follow the play.
Burke's runner goes over everything. The tap is volleyballed out to Quincy Lee, where he is fouled by Jermaine Geis.
How about Quincy Lee, the freshman? He starts the second half because he put together 2 pretty good minutes. This young man put together 2 pretty good minutes late in the first half, allows his team to cut the lead to 2 points. Speedy Morse rewards him, gives him the starting nod in the second half.
Well, he has started to play more down the stretch as they go inside to Mott, and he is pushed from behind by John Taylor. So very quickly, Butler starts piling up the team fouls here in the second half. That's 4 already.
Nice high-low situation with the guard Burke passing to Mott, the bigger player, cutting to the basket. It helps to, as we look at Barry Collier, not quite the same look on his face now as there was in the first half. His team fiddled away somewhat of the lead.
Durkin Mott, the freshman out of Glen Mills High School in the Philadelphia area, has 6 points. 18 points in 2 games against Butler during the regular season. He's got 7, and we've got Timon on the floor. 15:58 to play in this one. LaSalle leading by 7.
The MCC will...
He's back. This time we get it.
STP gas treatment cleans intake valves and fuel injectors to help engines run better. STP, the edge.
On the baking plains of Africa, they count on us. On the freezing midlands of Central Asia, they depend on us. And from Maine to Texas to California, we all count on the care and skill of America's farmers and ranchers to conserve our most precious resources. Protecting our soil and water is an investment in America's future. Find out what you can do to help. We owe it to our children. Call 1-800-THE-SOIL.
He's back. This time we get it.
STP gas treatment cleans intake valves and fuel injectors to help engines run better. STP, the edge.
A 22-5 spurt over the last 6 minutes plus as LaSalle up by 7 here in Indianapolis. And as you watch Kareem Towns take a 3-pointer, why don't you take the Gillette 3-point challenge? Just clip the coupon in your March 14th Sunday newspaper and go to your participating retailer to see if you've won a shot at $1 million. No purchase necessary, void where prohibited. With 2:12 to play in the first half, a Chris Miskell jump shot made it 35-25 Butler. It has been all LaSalle since then.
LaSalle trapping on the half court. Been good to them just about this entire ball game when they utilize it.
In the lane, Miskell gets it. Chris Miskell, the freshman, has 7.
Miskell has a nice touch for a left-hander, nice soft touch. Flashes the post, the paint area. It's been able to get the ball and convert.
The Bulldogs will have a nice backcourt next year with the senior Geis and the sophomore Miskell. And speaking of good-looking sophomores, how about Paul Burke? He's got a dozen.
Paul Burke that time takes the defender off the dribble. Normally he'll spot up and knock down the jumper. Shows us another area of his skill.
Brent's pass a little too strong, and here comes LaSalle in transition. Towns got in the air, in trouble, and threw it away.
And really missed Blitz Wooten on his right. He turned his back to Wooten, who was running down the right side, was wide open. All Towns had to do was lay it back to his right. Lost track of his own player.
Kareem really mad at himself. Speedy Morris was screaming to him to put that aside and get back into the ballgame. Look at the difference in the shooting in the second half for LaSalle. Butler's still shooting well. They just haven't had as many tries at it.
LaSalle 2 out of 3 from three-point land. That makes a difference too, Jeff.
Geis's three-pointer is good. First time that Jermaine Geis has got the ball in the second half. He's got a dozen. That's his second tray.
He's got a matchup now with Burke. He's got all he can handle right here. An important matchup.
Burke on the dribble drive. 2 more. He's got 14, but he is hurt. He bumped knees or twisted an ankle coming down.
I think he came down on the side of his foot, of Geis's foot. And when you do that, when you land on the side of somebody's foot, all you do is roll that ankle over. He didn't quite get a good look.
Yeah, he landed right on the top of Jermaine Geis's foot, so he rolled that right ankle. He's being attended to on the LaSalle bench. Those hurt. Speaking from experience, those hurt.
Burke's a tough guy. Don't write him out of this lineup here in the second half. If they can put some tape on it, I'm sure he'll want to continue on.
Replaced by Jeff Neubauer. Inside to Brenz. Double pumps and can't get it to go again. J.P. Brenz has been all around the basket, but has yet to get it to drop from the field.
Brenz has had a hard time finishing, as you very well said, Jack. And this one, again, point blank, you have to look it in, you have to make it go. You just can't wish it in. You have to make it go in. You have to force that ball in. Some guys are better than others at those shots under pressure inside, but Paul Burke, Jack, he's a guy that plays the point and scores points. Now, Neubauer is more of a playmaking type point. They won't have the point, the actual shooting point in that position right now as long as Paul Burke is not in there. So that's a major factor in this ballgame.
Boy, Quincy Lee was way up in the air for that rebound. Ray Schultz has come in replacing Blitz Wooten, who sits down with 3 personal fouls.
The first foul to go inside or put it in this man's hand.
Boom. Third three-pointer of the second half, 18 points, 11 in the second half for Kareem Towns.
When he gets the ball, it's gone quickly.
Again, that 8-point advantage. It's the first time they've led by as many as 8. Still lots of time, 13:20 to go in this one.
First time LaSalle has shown us a man-to-man this afternoon.
Buford on the drive. Bowen sets up for a 3. Quincy Bowen hits a 3-pointer. Well, it must be the day for guys who have not made threes to make them. He was 2 for 15 from beyond the line coming into today's play.
Buford set him up nicely. Penetration kick.
Towns for another 3. In and out that time. Rebound to Geis.
He was on a 5-for-5 run, Towns was, until that miss.
Bowens drops it back to Taylor, who is double-teamed. Bowens will set for another 3. Not this time as it goes over the top.
Giving him plenty of time. I think he might be able to read the newspaper while he's out there. Whoa, I'll tell you what.
It's amazing how many times the guy shoots better on the catch and pop with somebody in his face as opposed to sitting wide open like Bowens was that time.
It's all psychological. Here's the kick. He has plenty of time then and buries it. But you couldn't send him a newspaper, coffee, everything else out there.
Vitara Relaford back into the lineup for Butler. Durkin Mott squaring up against Relaford, and I think he walked with a basketball. John Bonder says yes, he did.
Mr. Bonder right on top of that, and he did. He tried to take a couple big elephant steps. You're only allowed 1. Watch this footwork. Fred Astaire dance class right there.
Butler with several large leads in the first half trying to come back here, and John Taylor will have a chance to do it at the foul line. He was whacked in the face by Quincy Lee.
Taylor, taller very athletic player, posts up the smaller Lee, jumps over the top of him. That's a very high percentage shot when you're taller and you can get to the post.
That's the Mo Howard Three Stooges foul there because Quincy Lee poked him right in the eye. John Taylor trying to decide what basket to shoot at. You caught a glimpse a moment ago of Paul Burke heading into the LaSalle locker room to work on that twisted right ankle. Taylor missed them both.
If you're Butler right now, wouldn't you think about maybe turning the pressure up on this man right here, Neubauer? Try to put a little pressure on him.
Well, the foul woes for Butler. If they lose this one, that will be a big factor. And Turkin Mott has been a big factor here in the second half with 7 second-half points and 9 in the game.
That's what Jeff Neubauer does so well. He is a playmaking point, not a scoring or shooting point necessarily like Burke, but a playmaking point.
Good switch on the pick and roll. Brenz's triple team fought the ball free where Geist got it to Taylor. And he is fouled on the floor by Ray Schultz. Both benches unhappy with the non-call until it was finally made.
Well, no different regular season or tournament. No one thinks they fouled, and everyone thinks they were fouled. Both benches debating that one. We saw the tail end, which we saw the foul, but there might have been some other opportunities to foul along the way, Jackson.
And there's Paul Burke. He's going to come back into this one, but first we've got a timeout on the floor. 11:19 to play. LaSalle up by 7.
At a time when things seem to be getting tighter and tighter, TWA has made it a lot easier to get by. We're replacing Coach with new Comfort Class to give you the most legroom of any major U.S. airline. And we're even putting footrests on every wide-body plane. But the price remains the same.
Recently, 1 million cases of Diet Pepsi were sent free to loyal Diet Coke drinkers.
I wonder if some of them are singing a different tune now. It's got a hold on me, right in the soul of me. I'm a changed man. This is the right one, baby.
It makes you wonder, what would happen if everyone tried Diet Pepsi?
No comment, baby. No doubt about it. Only one taste is the right one. Makes me feel like singing. You got the right one, baby.
We thought this tournament was going to be a very close one in every game, and that's been the case in game 1. Following this game, Dayton will try and knock off the number 2 seed Evansville. Check your local listings for that one. And then in the evening session in game 1, Loyola will battle the top seed, the Xavier Musketeers, and then the Duquesne Dukes will tangle with the Titans of Detroit Mercy. Again, check your local listings for the time for those games. Paul Burke is back into the lineup for LaSalle, but not operating at 100%. Miskell in the lane, left it short. Taylor's rebound is good.
How about this stat, Jack? With 2 minutes to go in the first half, LaSalle has outscored Butler 31-16.
Well, now 31-18 as the lead drops to 5. From the corner, Towns with another three-pointer. He's got 4. 21 for the game.
Freshman Miskell guarding Towns has to deny him the ball. Towns is hot. He can streak it with the best of them.
Rutherford lost to Hazel. Brenz's foul again won't go, but JP will again go to the line.
JP has to knock down these foul shots. That's all we can say. Step up there and knock them down, big fella. He takes a nice hack on the arm. he gets the inside position. Someone did not screen him out. You have to keep the big guys off the board.
Third foul on Paul Burke as Ray Schultz retires and John Shelton comes back in. Look at Butler's free throws today. 11 of 21, now 12 of 22. There, as I said, the number 2 team in the conference is 70%.
It took a long time to labor from that foul line.
Renz has 6. They've all come at the line in 8 tries as Brian Buford returns for the Bulldogs.
Butler going a little smaller, not much smaller than LaSalle overall. Shelton's the biggest player on the floor now, but maybe the quickness defensively is what Barry Collier wants with this smaller lineup.
Downs has the ball. Miskell trying to deny him space. Buford on the switch steals the ball. Ahead to Taylor. With an exclamation point. John Taylor with 11.
Nice steal, nice switch. The bigger Buford making the steal from Towns.
Just past the halfway mark of the second 20 minutes.
Paul Burke seems to be moving all right. Doesn't seem to be bothering him right now.
Burke splits the double team and can't get it to go. The rebound volleyballed out to him. He thought about the 3, and then he's fouled by Quincy Bowen.
Sometimes when you have a injury like Paul Burke did, ankle-wise, it may not be that bad to hurt him right now, but tomorrow night, if LaSalle moves on, it can really bother him. And he gets punished on that one, doesn't he?
Go back to the previous play on the steal by Buford, and John Taylor finished it off with the exclamation point.
Picks up defensive play by Buford that time.
Pass in the corner, and Mott can't run it down. The turnover gives the ball back to Butler.
Butler slowly climbing back in this game, Jack.
It was 8 points a few moments ago. It's down to 4. 9:25 to play. The turnover is just about even. Relaford over everybody. No. Rebound Shelton. And that was a rim rattler that almost went.
He called glass, too. I heard it.
Towns beyond the NBA 3 puts up an air ball. He felt Taylor got the basketball. And it'll come back to the Bulldogs. Speedy saying, hey, my man would have not thrown an air ball up there.
Would you expect him to take a different side?
Well, no. Dice in the lane. Can't get the finger roll to go. Shelton runs it down in the corner. LaSalle with 7 3-pointers. They've gotten 4 of them in the second half from Towns.
Butler has had the most success with Towns when they've had a bigger player on him.
Mott, good block out by Brian Buford. Miskell on the drive, left it short, and Mott one-arms the rebound.
Miskell short arms the shot.
Well, we've had about a minute's worth of frenzy and no points.
And with 8 minutes to go, after all this jockeying, somebody's got to whip the horse and head down the home stretch.
Burke gives it back out to Mott, and he is grabbed by Brian Buford. And for Buford, that is his 3rd personal foul. More importantly, 16 fouls on the Bulldogs.
You really don't want to foul Mott out here on the floor. You want to give him that jumper, jab step at him, fall back, and wait for the penetration. Don't run out and foul him out around the elbow area. That's the 3rd foul on Buford, and it might come back down the stretch here to haunt him. He's got 2 more, and really, if he passes on that foul, he'd only have 2 periods.
Towns for another 3. Rebound, Mott. Rebound on the floor to Geitz. The LaSalle fans thought there should have been a foul on Brian Buford. Danny Allen spots for a 3. Taylor runs down the loose ball.
Next time Taylor bothered Towns with his size. That's a pretty good matchup, Taylor on Towns.
Nice.
Nice a very quick flare off the dribble, blows right by Towns. LaSalle really didn't move as quick to help as you might want, but Towns has to find a way to contain guys out on the floor.
Third personal foul on Kareem Towns as Blitz Wooten comes back in for Don Shelton. And Jermaine Geis will go to the foul line to shoot the 1-and-1. Geis with 12 points, but only 3 on a three-pointer here in the second half. He scored 7 of the first 11 points for Butler.
And he's a junior now. He's an experienced player. Look for him to elevate his game down the stretch. He's the leader out there. He's the guy.
He's got 14, and we've got ourselves a 2-point ball game with an eternity yet to play here in the first quarterfinal game in Indianapolis.
If your business is looking for inventive ways to use 800 service, why not call the inventor of 800 service? One of the 800 reasons to choose AT&T 800 service, the best in the business. If all your 800 lines are busy, do you know how quickly our advanced features could reroute your 800 calls? You'd have to blink faster than that. One of the 800 reasons to choose AT&T 800 service, the best in the business.
Introducing the new Chex that's double delicious. I love double Chex. Better than the rest. Corn, rice, sweet, crunch, double crisp, bite, munch. It's new, lightly sweetened corn plus lightly sweetened rice makes new double Chex twice as nice. Double Chex, better than the rest. Corn, rice, sweet, crunch, double crisp, bite, munch.
It was a 2-point game at halftime in favor of Butler, so we have had ourselves a good one here in Indianapolis, and accommodations for this event have been provided by the Signature Inns, a place where travelers can stay, where the people can make them feel at home. A place called Signature Inn, serving your lodging needs with 28 convenient locations throughout the Midwest. Danny Allen, Chris Miskell, Jermaine Geis, Katara Rutherford, Nick Brian Buford, and J.P. Brenz in for Butler. You saw Speedy Morris a moment ago. He has got Quincy Lee, Paul Burke, Kareem Towns, Turkin Mott, and Blitz Wooten on the floor for his Explorers. And Quincy Lee started to take the shot, threw it inside to Wooten, who had already gone to the basket. So Brian Buford goes to the basket and ties it at 59.
Good thought that time by Lee. Two players reading out of the same book, but on different pages. Look for LaSalle to come back to that, though, and go inside and establish more of a half-court inside game right now versus letting go with the long-range jumper.
Towns on the baseline, double clutches, went over everything, but Lee volleyballed the rebound to Paul Burke.
Lee has made his presence felt with pure hustle.
Because it didn't hit the rim, the shot clock did not reset. Lee tried a 3, and here comes Butler with a chance to regain the lead.
You have to be careful who ends up shooting those shots.
Bad pass by Jermaine Geis, and Paul Burke's steal puts Butler back down by 4. Make it 2, I apologize.
Burke was lurking in the paint that time. You have to be aware when you're a passer of all the defenders.
Paul Burke with 16 points this afternoon. 10 in the first half when Towns wasn't getting it going, and then Kareem has picked it up in the second half, and he forces a turnover, and Towns will get 2 more. 23 points and great defense by Burke and Towns, and Barry Collier wants time. 6:10 to play in this one. The dynamic duo in the backcourt doing it for LaSalle.
We'd like to make an
unfair comparison. Old El Paso Thick and Chunky Picante versus Place Picante. Unfair because Old El Paso Thick and Chunky Picante is made from a special bold recipe with an abundance of tomatoes, chilies, onions, and seasonings. Unfair because you can see the difference. Old El Paso's got the taste that runs wild. Taste just runs.
Old El Paso's got the taste that runs wild.
Tight ball game, if you really want to break somebody's heart and kick the game out, knock the doors down, make a bad pass, let someone get a steal, and an easy basket. Butler does it, but they turn around and get lazy passing. LaSalle gets this cheap basket and one more.
So the lead is 4. Quincy Bowens back into the ball game for Jermaine Geis as the LaSalle trap makes another appearance.
And when it makes an appearance, things usually happen good for the Explorers. Butler hesitant, Jack. What do you think? They
don't really have a shooter on the floor right now. Brenz, double pumps, and won't go in again. Rebound LaSalle.
That poor fellow has the luck of all luck this afternoon. He has missed so many at point blank. He probably feels like he never wants to see another one in that court.
Tell you what, that went around the rim so many times it looked like the trip was sponsored by Rural Tech Travel, which takes care of our travel. And speaking of guys who know where to put the ball, Kareem Towns with 2 more.
I think you have to have a big man on Kareem Towns. Kareem Towns shoots over the smaller players. For the bigger defender, he might have a chance to stop him.
It was tied at 59, but 6 straight points by the Explorers out of their backcourt. It's almost now like they're hesitant to throw it to Brenz because JP can't get it to go.
Confidence, you have confidence in your teammates in many ways.
Taylor inside, and Kareem Towns reached out and grabbed him, and that is 4 fouls on Towns.
Not a good sign for Speedy Morris, but what was a good sign was the way his zone reacted. They collapsed on the ball. 3-4, gold shirt. Instead of earlier allowing the dribbler to go clear to the basket, they reacted and changed their thoughts defensively. Did a good job this time.
Now they tell us that is only 3 fouls on Towns. Qatar Relaford comes back in for Brian Buford. Jermaine Geis back in for Quincy Bowens, and John Taylor, who hit 3 out of his first 4 from the line, but has missed his last 3.
Well, with Geis back in, Jack, this gives the Butler Bulldogs 3-point threat. And that's what Barry Collier wanted to do when he changed his lineup at this point.
John Taylor with 13 points. He has been a big factor for Butler this afternoon. It's a 4-point game.
A stop here by Butler. They have a chance to climb into it. Put the foot in the door.
Inside the Wooten offensive foul as he dropped the shoulder and buried J.P. Brenz. And that is 4 personal fouls on Blitz Wooten.
Blitz Wooten probably could use his quickness inside. Doesn't need that charge, but as you said, Jack, right in front of the referee, look at that shoulder dip. Uh-oh, that's a no-no. That'll get you a call every time.
Geis Walks into the trap, but gets it off to Relaford.
They're not attacking the backside of that trap. They did that earlier.
Friends on the baseline, no. Got his own rebound for a jump ball, and the arrow is pointing Butler's way, so the Bulldogs will maintain possession thanks to the hustle of Friends.
And the arrow, you dodge a bullet. Fading almost out of bounds. Probably a shot that he did not want to take. A forced shot.
They get it into Bren. He gets the field goal to go. His first field goal, he's got 8 points. The senior out of St. Charles, Illinois.
Uses the glass, puts it up softly that time.
The lead down to 2 with just under 4 minutes to play.
Good switch that time on Towns, a bigger player now.
Kareem dribbled the ball off his foot and lost the ball to John Taylor. Good pass to Miskell. He doesn't get it, but Blitz Wooten just fouled himself out of the game on a foul he shouldn't have made.
Blitz Wooten gave an effort. Now he gets a technical. Not good at all. Buford is the guy that makes all this happen by positioning himself defensively to get the steal from Towns. And out goes Miskell. Wooten should, as you said, Jack, just let him have the 2. Then his emotions get a hold of him. Not a good situation. Not only did they lose him to fouls, but a technical doesn't help the situation.
So Chris Miskell will shoot 2 free throws for the foul. And then there'll be 2 free throws for the technical, and Butler will get the ball.
Plug this in. How about the 2 that LaSalle lost on the steal? If he makes 2, that's 4. If he makes the technical, is 5, and the ball could be 7. Here is why Blitz Wooten got the technical. A little showmanship that the referees did not appreciate. I think he wrapped himself around that goal. Not so sure he said anything, Jack. It was the
I've had referees and umpires and all the different sports tell you, don't show me up. You can disagree with it. You can complain to me about it so long as your language is all right, but don't make a scene where you're trying to show me up.
And as he was wrapped around that goalpost, everybody in this arena had a good chance to see, and that could be embarrassing, as you said, to a referee.
Chris Miskell will go to the foul line. I doubt that he'll be the technical free throw shooter since he's only 42% on the year from the foul line. Speedy taking the full minute to make his replacement when that takes place.
Speedy took his and everybody else's for the tournament on this particular one.
We also have a cut on the hand of Quincy Lee, hand or arm, so they're getting that attended to, and Miskell misses the free throw. Chris 1 of 2 on the afternoon and only 12 of 28 on the year. That one goes. He's got 8.
Now with this shot, they've got a chance to capitalize on 2 or 3 and the ball plus the 2 that LaSalle didn't get. So it still has a chance to be a big play for Butler.
Jermaine Geis, who is number 6 in the conference, is just 2 of 4 at the foul line this afternoon. Got that one to go. We are tied for the 4th time this afternoon. And LaSalle is going to take a timeout with 3:38 to play. We are tied at 65 in the first quarterfinal game.
Would you just look at what we get from America's soil and water? Protecting our future. We owe it to our children.
Thank you, Grandpa.
Call us.
one has been a dandy, and we think that maybe all four will be that way. And J.P. Brins finally ended the drought from the field on this basket.
He's 1 for 4 with this basket, but he had quite a few other shots that he got fouled on, which don't count, and he's labored at the foul line. But the senior coming back from an injury, trying to play his last game to Butler in style, knocked that one down when they needed it, Jack.
He missed 15 games with a stress fracture in his foot. Butler getting the ball after the technical foul on Blitz Wooten with a chance to regain the lead for the first time in the second half. They go to Brins, and he is fouled by Don Shelton, and that is his 4th personal.
Brins did an excellent job of getting position inside. Watch where he receives the ball in the paint. That's where you want to be. He accomplishes part of his goal, which is to get to the foul line.
Well, we stand corrected on the board. It is Don Shelton who fouls out with 3:27 to play. So in the space of a few seconds, 2 of the big men are gone for Speedy Morris's Explorers.
And the other part of Coach Barry Collier's plan on that was probably to get Shelton in foul trouble, get him over on the bench with Speedy Morris, and they accomplished that.
J.P. Brins with a 10-point ball game. 8 of 10 now at the foul line.
LaSalle needs to get as good a shot as they possibly can. Maybe put Towns with the ball.
He goes by Miskel, doesn't get it to go. And it's an offensive foul on Kareem Towns as J.P. Brins drew the charge.
Defensively, Butler had a good guess at who might have the ball down the stretch here, and that was Kareem Towns. They rotated very well. Brins was in position to take the charge. Miskel does get beat off the dribble. There's Brins.
Tell you what, the shot would have counted had it gone. Instead, Brins will come down and try 2 more where he has hit his last 4.
Defensively, if you're Butler, you have to figure that Towns will take the shot, so you have to adjust your defense accordingly. They did that time.
Brins with 11. 8 of them here in the second half. Butler by 3. Mott had trouble making the catch. Now turns, too strong, rebound Taylor.
No second shots. Nobody went to the board that time. Mott got a good shot. He had patience, just didn't go in.
Less than 3 minutes to play. Butler led by 2 at halftime. LaSalle tied it in the opening seconds of the second half, and now Butler finally able to climb back into the lead. Brins, good pass to Miskel, and he's fouled by Quincy Lee.
Boy, that was a nice pass, Jack. As you said, very heads-up play by Brins. Brins is covered up by Schultz, the taller player, finds Chris Miskel cutting to the basket. Brins did 2 things. He didn't travel, and he didn't take a bad shot. And that's why Butler is at the foul line.
Chris Miskel, 2 for 3 at the foul line. The freshman who started today with Tim Bowen on a 1-game suspension has 9. He has scored as many as 19 this year.
Barry Collier's team on a 10-0 run in the last 2 minutes, trying to make it 11.
Rebound on the floor. Schultz comes up with it for the Explorers. And LaSalle takes time with 2:28 to play. It was 65-59 LaSalle. And then the sequence of the bad pass, the turnover leading to the fast break opportunity with the foul by Wooten. Add to that the technical foul and possession of the basketball, and that's why Butler is going on this run to take control of the game.
That technical situation you mentioned, Jack, big swing point-wise against LaSalle. They didn't get 2 when they turned it over, and Butler capitalized at their end of the floor. J.P. Brins, how about...
Will tangle with the number 5 seed, the Duquesne Dukes, in the nightcap.
Once both of these teams shook off their what was perceived to be early game jitters, playing the first game in the tournament, this has been quite a contest.
Both teams have had large leads. that have dissipated. Down low, Quincy Lee. Over John Taylor, left it short. J.P. Brenz with the rebound.
Tough for Quincy Lee to shoot over the taller Taylor. He looks to have a little more strength, but Taylor too tall that time. Made him adjust his shot.
Relaford on the move. Qatar Relaford with a big field goal.
Relaford, the wrapped right hand doesn't affect that left hand, the shooting hand.
Now the last two LaSalle possessions, his first three-pointer is off the mark, but Lee runs it down. I was going to say they've taken 3 shots now. They have yet to get the ball into Towns' hands. Mott over Brenz scores it.
That's what they needed, Jack, the inside shot. They need a better balance right now between inside and outside.
But they're running out of time with 90 seconds to play in this one, and Mott fouls Qatar Relaford.
Good foul. Stop the clock. Stop it quickly.
Second foul on Turkin Mott. It'll be 2 free throws for Qatar Relaford. The junior out of Cincinnati is a 67% free throw shooter.
You have to get 3 best you can, either from outside the three-point line or inside. If he's fouled, he would get his 3, but he walked away with 2. So inside is the place that LaSalle wants to go as much as they do from the three-point line.
Relaford now 2 of 5 at the foul line. 6 points on the afternoon for the junior. The Butler lead is 5.
4 big points by Relaford, the running left-hander, and the 2 foul shots.
Mott looking for Towns. Fires the 3 and got it with Miskell in his face, and LaSalle takes time. Wow. 28 points for Kareem Towns, a 3-point Butler lead with 1:18 to play.
I took giant pills. I lost 34 pounds.
6 months later.
Pointers in the second half. 21 points in the second half. 28 for the game for the sophomore from Philadelphia. Full court pressure. And it's a bad pass. Burke misses, however, and Taylor gets the rebound.
Boy, talk about dodging a bullet. Butler threw it away. Paul Burke, somebody you wouldn't expect to miss that easy of a shot.
Well, you wonder if the ankle bothered him as he went towards the basket.
Quite possibly.
Dice gets it to Relaford with a minute to play. A 3-point Butler lead.
Need a foul here.
Towns has 4 personal, so he can't afford to give up that foul.
Right there it is.
20 on the shot clock. Taylor got it away to Relaford. 10 on the shot clock. Dice inside, doesn't go. Rebound loose on the floor, it goes out of bounds. And what are they going to call? LaSalle basketball. Jermaine Geis was over the sideline in possession of the ball.
Both teams really, really hustle for that ball.
29 seconds to play. Jeff Neubauer coming into the ball game to be another 3-point shooter for Quincy Lee. Think what you would have here had Burke made that layup off of this bad pass.
Is it not appropriate that a team like LaSalle will live and die with a three-pointer has that same chance right now?
They get into Towns for the 3. Not this time. Rebound Burke on the baseline. Back out to Towns again. Not this time. Rebound J.P. Brenz, and he's fouled. Kareem Towns was wide open both times for the 3 and couldn't get it to drop.
Probably too wide open, as we talked earlier, Jack. Sometimes guys favor the chance to shoot under pressure, but seem almost naked out there when they're guarded, and it bothers some guys.
Jeff Neubauer picks up his 3rd personal. Kareem Towns has had a great second half, but couldn't get these to go. This one was way off the mark. Second one had a 4 of a chance.
If you ever want to put it in the right guy's hands, LaSalle did. Paul Burke realized that, kicked it back out to Kareem Towns. It just didn't go down.
A little bit too much front rim on the try, and so J.P. Brenz with 2 big free throws. And he has hit a lot of big ones this afternoon. He has got a dozen He is 10 of 13 at the foul line.
Talk about playing down the stretch and whipping the horse as you make the turn. This guy really whipped it for himself. And I'll tell you what, the last 5-6 minutes, he's been a dominant player offensively.
A 5-point lead with 15 seconds to play.
Well, you got to let that three go.
Burt lost the ball. Butler with the first upset of the tournament as Jermaine Geis seals the decision. The Butler Bulldogs, to the delight of the fans here in Indianapolis, are still playing basketball as Butler upsets the LaSalle Explorers 77-70. What a ball game here in Indianapolis this afternoon. For those of you who are departing, we thank you for joining us for what was a good one. For those of you staying around, we'll have more from Indianapolis after this. Back here in Indianapolis, where the Butler Bulldogs, after blowing a 10-point lead late in the first half and starting slowly in the second half, came on down the stretch, made the defensive plays when they had to, and came up with a big victory as they keep their hopes alive here at home in front of the hometown fans.
Well, as you said, Jack, at home, that's really something for the league and the tournament to have the home team play the first game and pull a big upset. But down the stretch, the last 5 or 6 minutes, it was Butler's ball game. LaSalle really couldn't get anything going extensively. Butler did. They scored at the foul line. I think the call with the technical, those multiple foul shots and the ball back really hurt LaSalle. That was really a heartbreaker. And then Shelton fouled out right after that, which took another big man out of the lineup for LaSalle. So LaSalle really erratic, couldn't get anything to go together late, and Butler had it all going. J.P. Brenz, Relaford made some big foul shots and made a nice driving layup. Butler played well, and they played well when you had to.
They got the big guy, J.P. Brenz, indeed, to play well in this one on the very floor in which his season